to the 2020-2021 school year. Welcome to Desert Christian. I am Mrs. Costello, the middle school principal, and we are going to be having a virtual orientation, kind of telling you all about Desert Christian. I hope you guys really enjoy it, and let's get started. School starts every day at 8 o'clock. However, you're going to be able to drop your student off between 7:25 and 7:55. We have a drive-through drop-off system this year. This is our front gate where students will come in. This gate is only open in the morning between 7:25 and 7:55 and between 2 and 2:15 for pickup after school. We'll be talking about the main office and how to get onto campus off hours, but right now we'll talk about the mornings. So if you go right here, we're going to be having two drive-throughs. There'll be one, and we'll send out a diagram, one coming through this lane over here where we will be doing our health checks in the morning. There'll be another one on this side, both leaving, one leaving out the middle, one leaving out the side. So we will send a map explaining that, but the morning, we'll do a morning health check at the cars, and then after your student has been cleared, they'll be able to come on through to the middle school every single morning. So that's kind of what it's going to be looking like in the mornings for drop-off. If you are in need of Peach Factory will have a separate drop-off that we will be confirming the location of that once we're back on campus. But we do have Peach Factory after school care from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. for a little bit of an additional charge. But it's really great if you're a working parent and you're in need of that. Also, if you have an elementary student and a middle school student, you'll be able to take advantage of Peach Factory in the morning for free after you drop your middle schooler off. So again, school hours are going to be 8 a.m. to 2 o'clock with our morning drop-off 7:25 to 7:55 and our afternoon pickup staggered dismissal between 2 and 2:15 with after-school activities happening after that, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Now we're going to move on to the main campus office. This is our main campus office. If students arrive at school after 8 o'clock, or if they need to be picked up during the day, you're going to be coming to our main campus office. The main campus office is open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're going to go walk on through. You will not be able to come on to the middle school campus without an appointment this year. You will be able, though, to come to our main campus office, and we'll be able to send your student to the office for you to pick up. So I'm going to kind of show you what the office looks like. This is our main campus office. This is Maggie. Maggie will be able to assist you with picking your student up early or being able to accept students that are late to school. So she'll be a really great help. And again, the office is open from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Every student at Desert Christian Schools is required to wear a Desert Christian polo. This is an example of one of our polos. By now, everybody should have already purchased polos. Please email me immediately if you do not have a Desert Christian polo so that we can make sure that before we're back on campus that everybody has our official school uniform. If you are looking for spirit gear, we also have several selections of spirit gear, and Mrs. Shreves, who works in our spirit wear department, will be able to help you with that. This is the middle school gate. So over here would be the middle school campus. Behind us, actually in front of me, is our elementary and our preschool. So our middle schoolers, the only time they really come across this area is if they're going through our main campus office to be dismissed early. If their parents are early, we really try to keep the middle school kids on our campus, and we're going to take a little bit of a walk. Our middle school classrooms are over here. Our middle school fields are over here. One of the 6 classes that all students will take is physical education. So our PE classes, especially this year, will be primarily outside unless the weather is just too much to be able to be outside, and then we do have a gym for the students to be able to go into. But again, primarily outside. We have our numbers right over here that have been socially distanced in order to separate. We do not have 45 students in our classes. There's simply that so we could use it for some outside activities as well. So students will be able to be on our basketball courts, they'll be able to be out on our field, and we are also establishing a new running track that'll be a little bit further utilizing some of our out of bounds area in order for the students to be able to not have to run as many laps in order to run their mile every day. So students for PE will have to have athletic shoes. So they are more than welcome to wear shoes with back, even sandals with backs on them for school, but they will need to have athletic shoes that the students can run in. That doesn't mean the shoes have to be, $100 shoes. Students' feet do grow throughout the year, but they do need to be really good for their feet for running. So students will have a PE uniform. At this point, I know that almost everybody has purchased that uniform. We will be going into our office to show that uniform off again, but if you have not, please contact me as soon as possible so that we can get those clothes ordered. They do have to wear that PE uniform for classes. It's the shirt and their shorts. Any outerwear, any sweatshirts or sweatpants do need to be the official Desert Christian sweatshirts and sweatpants. They are allowed, however, to run with a running tight, which it doesn't have to be Under Armour, but an Under Armour type running black only tight underneath their pants if that is more comfortable for them than sweatpants. So we have two different areas for the girls and two different areas for the boys to change in order to physically distance them for changing. So students do dress out every single day for PE, and they do, and so we are able to be able to do that in a great manner so our kids are able to have that physical fitness time, which is so important to both their physical and their emotional health. PE standards will change throughout the year depending on what our government regulations. Right now we are planning for a full physical distance class due to our current regulations, but that could change to where they would be able to play with balls and play more games as the year progresses, but again, we can only go with what the restrictions are at the time. That being said, to talk a little bit about sports. In a traditional year, I'd be telling you we offer cross-country, volleyball, basketball, soccer, and track as our sports that we compete in the Tri-District Sports League with the other public schools in the area. Due to COVID-19 right now, the sports season is on hold. We have a couple plans. Our number one plan is to immediately get involved with the league with a delayed season if and when that happens. Our second plan is if contact sports are allowed, then but our league is not participating, then we could do intramural, which means we establish teams at our own school and play against each other. The third step would be is that if we could get to other schools that are not part of the league that are participating or different club teams to be able to do sports like volleyball, then we would do that. The number 4 option would be is if there's no contact allowed but skill building is allowed, then we would most definitely, like dribbling for basketball, for instance, but not a full court game. We will be able to make sure especially our 8th graders are ready for high school sports. So we have 4 different plans. Again, a delayed start with our league, playing against ourselves. Our third one would be to be able to play against some other schools that might be having teams. And then our last option would be to just do skill building so our students are ready. We do, however, have a gymnastics center that again is up to the regulations on what they can and can't offer, but they will be able to offer things before contact sports will. So we have our gymnastics center. We also have our Desert Christian cheerleading squad. Again, both of those sports are on the CDC's list as able to happen because they're more individualized just with adjustments. So we are able to offer those, but you will be seeing updates for clubs throughout the year as our regulations change. We are eager to have our kids back in sports, and we will be able to do that as soon as we get the green light too. Every student at Desert Christian Middle School receives a locker. A couple changes for our lockers this year is students will not be able to request what locker they would like. And this is simply because we have to come up with a schedule and a plan for social distancing of our lockers. So students will be assigned a locker. We do know that some of our students are smaller and some of our students are taller, so we will take that into consideration when we're doing our locker assignments. We also were able to pull out all of the lockers out of the PE changing room in order to increase the number of lockers, but even with that increase, we will also not be able to offer sports lockers this year. Typically, if you're new to Desert Christian, and I'm really hoping next year will be a normal year, you would be able to request a second locker to be able to use for your sports locker, for your PE clothes, and for your after-school activities. This year, due to the physical distancing, we are not going to be able to offer that, but you will get your own locker. If you're new, just so you know, it's a big thing here to be able to decorate your lockers. People put carpet and chandeliers and magnets with pictures. It's a big deal. Parents, it's kind of like getting ready for their first dorm room. Even though that's, a number of years away, they really get excited about their lockers. So when your student says, I need this, this, and this, just embrace them. It's something that they really enjoy, and it's, brings a smile to their face. So yes, when they ask for all those things, a chandelier in your locker, yes, that's a real thing, and many of the girls have them. Students go to 6 classes every day. We had student schedules were sent out today, August 17th, so you will see your student schedule. Students have math class, they have English class, they have science, history, Bible, and PE. Students have been cohorted this year, so that means that the same 17 students will be together in a class all day. Again, some of those classes are a little bit smaller than 17, but they'll be no larger than 17. So they will travel to their different classes together. That's again on the CDC recommendations, is to keep kids as cohorted as much as we possibly can. So the students will be traveling together, and we did have to do that due to the math classes the students were in. So unfortunately, we will not be able to handle schedule changes. If people want to be with friends, I tried my best to be able to match that as much as I possibly could given the restrictions that we had. So I think that by the time we're all back on campus, we'll be so happy to be in class that you'll be able to see your friends at lunch or after school and doing clubs, that it's going to be okay. But again, students were cohorted into their schedules. They do go to 6 classes every single day. We will not have a special chapel schedule this year. Chapel will be part of our Bible class once a week. So no special schedules on Thursdays. It'll be the same schedule every day. School starting at 8 o'clock. Ending at between 2 and 2:10 with a staggered release, and that schedule is also I'm in the email that went out on the 17th, so you guys can kind of know what to expect. We will be doing that same schedule, just with a little bit of a change. The whole 8 to 2 will be the same. We'll just be making some small adjustments for a little bit longer breaks in between classes during distance learning. So classes are super exciting here. Your Bible class, we're going to be in 6th grade. We're starting a new Christian worldview class, followed by 7th grade Route 66, traveling through the New Testament. In 8th grade, we finish up with a 8th grade version of our Christian worldview class that really gets our kids thinking about their faith and how it applies to the world around them. History, we start with, in 6th grade, we start with the ancient Greeks and Romans and Israelites. And then and Egyptians. No, everybody loves to talk about the pyramids. Then we move on to continuing the Roman Empire all the way to our American exploration in 7th grade, talking about the Renaissance and the Reformation in medieval times. You can tell that I'm the history person. In 8th grade, it's all about American history. So we start at the American colonization and travel to the Civil War. In science, in 6th grade, we talk about earth science. Who doesn't like to build a volcano and talk about the solar system? In 7th grade, it's life science. Everybody loves the frog dissection. I'm kind of fibbing, not everybody loves it, but I think the frog dissection is pretty awesome that Mrs. Shepner does. In 8th grade, it is physical science, where you're doing chemicals and you're learning how things work. In English, you're going to be moving from a 6th grade where we're learning our writing skills, we're learning our literature skills, we're learning our grammar, spelling and vocabulary, turning into a 7th grade that is more novel study based. You'll still be doing those other things, but you'll be reading some really great books. In 8th grade, high focused on writing, media literacy, and so our English program, you will learn to write really well, you'll learn to critically think, you'll learn how to do literary analysis. It's a really excellent English program. Traveling to math, we are starting a new math curriculum this year that will align with our online program of Alex. We have 3 classes in 6th grade, 4 classes in 7th grade, and 4 classes in 8th grade. So every student should be in a class where they can be super successful. And with Alex, we can help fill in those gaps. And then we have PE. And then we already talked a little bit about our PE class separately, but with your 6 classes at the middle school, you should be fully ready for high school, and that we're really excited to help you develop your academic skills and just really progress forward to the next chapter of your lives. One of the things that we had to do when we were physically distancing in our classrooms was to take extra furniture and items away. So we had so many books in our English classrooms that we have a whole entire reading annex to be able to keep those books. So these are just some of the many books that we have for our students. Students will still be able to check books out this year, even though that we do not have our library open. You'll get more information from your English teachers. We also will continue, if you were part of our summer reading challenge, we will continue to have reading challenges throughout the school year, because this year we will not be having accelerated reader. So because we don't have AR, we still will be challenging students in new and fun and exciting ways that especially our kids that love to read will have different challenges throughout the year with super duper prizes. So I'm hoping that that gets them really excited about reading, and our English teachers are so excited to share all of these books with our students. I had no idea 3 years ago when we fundraised to pay for our Chromebooks how important Chromebooks would be this year. Our Chromebooks will be a crucial part of our distance learning. And people have asked, does it have to be a Chromebook? No, it absolutely can be a laptop or a regular computer at home, but Chromebooks are just a less expensive option. And so that's why we encourage parents, because they don't have to have all the gaming capabilities and other capabilities of a laptop. So these are our Chromebooks. Our school is not a one-to-one Chromebook school, which means when you come to school, we're not doing all of our work on campus on our Chromebooks. But we do have Chromebooks that are used in classrooms. Even with COVID-19, we have figured out a way to be able to sanitize our Chromebooks to still be able to use them in our classrooms. At home, they're obviously way more crucial than they were at school, because we will be having all of our Zoom classes through the computer. So having access to a Chromebook is essential. If you do not have access to a computer at home for distance learning, you are able to check one of our Chromebooks out. When we're back on campus, however, we will need to get those Chromebooks back in order to be able to use them in our classrooms. Every family should have access to a computer and a printer at home. Now, I know for some families they have access, but during distance learning, you don't have access for everybody in your family, and we completely understand that. That's why we have a Chromebook loaning program. So that way students are able to borrow them with a contract and be able to return them when they're no longer needed on a daily basis at home. So we have these Chromebooks. They're really great. Again, you don't need to spend a whole lot of money on these Chromebooks. You pay more money for your screen size and their durability. So just know your kid and know what price range you're willing to spend, but fancier is not always better when we're just needing to be able to get on the Google Suite, which every Chromebook can do. We are in the middle of getting our isolation medical room ready for this school year. We do have a separate isolated room for students that are sick, so that students will be able to isolate if they're not feeling well throughout the day, for their parents to come pick them up. Mrs. Darwood will be in charge of that. She will also be handling all inhalers and other medication throughout the day. It is very important this school year. I don't even think I need to say this. If your child is not feeling well, please keep them at home. We are coming up with a plan for your student to easily be able to make up their work at home if they are not feeling well. So we will not be as strict as we have been in the past about absent policies for being sick, because we would much rather your student be able to be home and feeling better and not being on campus, especially if we're not sure what they're sick with. And I know that our students that come to school, I like to give you that promise that we are trying to keep our campus as healthy and safe as possible. That won't just be for students, but for staff as well. Our staff members will go through health checks every single day, and if they are not feeling well, they will be able to just go. I'm telling them to just call me in the morning and please don't come in. It's not a problem. We just want to keep our campus as safe as possible, but we do have a medical room in order to be able to handle those isolated incidents if we do have to isolate somebody during the day. But on a normal day-to-day basis, Mrs. Darwood will be able to give out inhalers, headache medicine, contact parents about the medication, cough drops, just normal things that we need on an everyday basis. And we will continue to have this isolation room even post COVID-19, because it just makes sense to have our own middle school medical area. We are almost at textbook pickup time. Textbook pickup will be August 31st through September 3rd. We sent a link out, which will be again in your email on August 17th. If you have not already signed up, we're going to do it Walmart pickup style. You're going to go ahead and pull into a designated spot at your time, and then you're going to call our middle school office, and we will be able to bring your textbooks, your PE clothes, and a couple of other items out to your cars. And so it'll be super simple. You don't have to get out of your car. We can even put it in your trunk. We're really trying to make it to where we have limited people on campus and to make it super convenient for families. At this point, we've had almost everybody has ordered their textbooks. If you did not order all of your textbooks and you're having trouble getting any of those extra ones, please let us know, because I can almost guarantee that we'll be able to help you and take that stress right off. Hi, one of the rules at DCMS is about cell phones. So our students are not allowed to have their cell phones on during the school day, and so their cell phones need to be off in their backpack or their locker. They may not even be like in their pocket. And so you might be thinking, how am I going to reach my child? Well, there's a couple of options. The first option is that if you have a message for them for after school, if you text them that message, when they turn their phone on at 2 o'clock, they'll be able to get that message and will clearly know what's going on after school. The other way can be to call our middle school office. If you call the middle school office, Mrs. Clark will be happy to get that message to your student. If it's urgent, she'll even go and get your student from class. So it's really, really quick to reach your student. If your student needs to reach you, we have our handy dandy phone. It's really fun to watch the students dial, because they'll dial like this and not lift the phone up because they've never used a landline before. So it's kind of fun to watch them navigate it, but after we're done giggling about it, we show them how to use the phone, and then they're able to call you. So this is their very own student phone that we will disinfect between every use. So that, again, cell phones are not to be used in classrooms, and they're not to be used from the time they come onto campus until right after school, that those phones need to be turned off and need to be in their backpacks or their lockers. As part of our PE program, every student has a PE uniform. Mostly all of our students have already purchased their shirts and their shorts, but you may have not purchased your outerwear for our colder winter months. There will be another opportunity in October to purchase your sweatshirts and your warm-up jackets and your sweatpants. So be looking for that information. You can also email Mrs. Costello if you would like to purchase those any earlier than our October ordering period. You will receive all of your PE items that you have already purchased at textbook pickup August 31st through September 3rd. I'm going to talk a little bit about dress code. Our Desert Christian Handbook will be out shortly, and that will have a more detailed dress code. But the basics are that every middle school student will need to wear a Desert Christian polo. Then they will, for their bottoms, you can wear uniform shorts. You can wear a skirt or a dress as long as it's 3 inches above the knee. And then you can wear pants and jeans, including blue jeans, as long as there are no holes in the jeans. Our dress code in our handbook is much more detailed, but those are the basics that pretty much apply to about 90% of the kids that for school each day. Attached to our August 17th Desert Christian Middle School information letter is a link to our discipline chart. Discipline is stated in our Desert Christian Handbook with a little bit of the do's and the don'ts, but our discipline chart pretty much spells out, if you do this, this is what happens. We're asking all of our parents to sit down with their students and go over our discipline chart. When we are back on campus, we will spend some time with the students that very first couple days back, going over our rules just to make sure that the students clearly understand what the expectations are. But that time with you, being able to go over each rule and talk as a family, is a really valuable time just to really get the students ready for what the expectations are going to be, especially if you're new to the middle school, and just so that they understand what's expected and they're not too surprised. So if you can take those few minutes to go over that chart with your students, I would greatly appreciate it. I'm excited to announce our 2020-2021 Desert Christian Middle School staff. We have Mr. Alan Squires, who will be teaching all of our PE classes, grades 6 through 8. We have Mr. J, and Mr. J will be teaching Bible 7, Math 7C, and Math 6C. We have Dr. Schmidt, who will be teaching Math 7A and Math 8B. We have Mr. Rondeau, who will be moving into 8th grade, teaching 8th grade Bible. We have Mrs. Grand Prix, who will be teaching 3 sections of 8th grade English, Algebra, Math 6A, and Math 6B. We have Mr. Saltzman, who will be teaching Science 6, Science 8, and Math 7B. I'm teaching 4 sections of History 7. So excited to be in the classroom. I have Mrs. Von Tunglen, who is going to be teaching both English 6 and English 7 for us this year. I have Mr. Galloway, who will be teaching History 6 and History 8. I have Mrs. Shepner, who will be teaching Science 7 and 1 period of History 6. I have Mr. Williams coming to us from the high school, and he'll be teaching Bible 6 and Bible 7. I have Mrs. McGay. He's coming from elementary to us, and she's going to be teaching Science 6, English 7, English 8, Math 8B, and Math 8C. I'm so excited for the teaching staff for this next school year. We're so excited to start the school year on distance learning and then have you finally back in the classroom. I also would like to introduce our middle school office staff. We have Mrs. Clark, who is our front desk receptionist. So she's in charge of handling student needs and our phone calls. During distance learning, she will also be in charge of our student check-in, where she'll be checking student progress and just making sure everything's going okay with them. Mrs. Darwood, who is in charge of our attendance and discipline clerk. She's also our medical clerk for when we're back on campus, just making sure everybody has what their needs, everybody's staying safe. I have Mrs. Dombrowski as one of my assistants, and she's in charge of fun. So she does our activities, our lunches, she'll help with field trips. So she's in charge of a lot of our activities on campus. And then we have Leah Killian, who is in charge of she helps with Google support. She helps with our textbooks. She also helps me with with the finances of the middle school. So she does a lot of background stuff, but we'll also see her out on different activities and things like tutoring. We have Mrs. Eslick, who is our Advantage coordinator, who helps students with different academic needs and just different accommodations for them in their classrooms. And then we have Mr. Greg Squires, who is moving into a different role this year. He'll be working from home. He is going to be in charge of helping with middle school tech. He will also be handling special projects for me, as well as handling anything that we do in FACS. So he'll be the one like you get your report cards from. So that is our middle school staff for our 2021 school year. I want to take a moment and talk about our theme for our 2020-2021 school year, and our focus right now is on the whole child. During this whole time of uncertainty, we want to make sure all of your students' needs are handled, and so we have a 5-tier approach, starting with intellectual. So intellectual will involve academics. That was one of the reasons we came up with having our students go to our Zoom classes all day long. It gives them structure, consistency. It gives them time with their teachers every single day. So what you'll be seeing during our distance learning is that students will log on to their Zoom classroom starting at 8 a.m. and they will go through their entire school day. They will have their classes with their teachers with instruction. They'll be able to do things like bell work. They'll be able to do different games with their teachers. So there'll be a focus on making those things interactive as possible. And there'll also be times when students are starting doing their assignments where the teacher's available on the screen where the students are working independently. So in real time, our teachers will be able to help our students progress. So even though that we have to start this year off as distance learning, we'll still be able to make sure our students are progressing academically. You'll still see the different levels of our math classes to where we are pushing our higher students, and we're also helping our students that need the extra help. You'll also see academic services involved with, for instance, our office will be contacting every single student every week to make sure that they're doing okay on their academics, that they don't need extra tutoring. We have that opportunity to pray with our students, see what's going on with their lives. So there'll be a lot of interaction, making sure that our students are not falling behind and they continue to progress forward, especially our 8th graders, making sure that they are ready for high school. Secondly, emotionally. Emotionally, when we're talking about our students' emotional health, a couple ways that we're handling that. One of them is our weekly check-ins, to where we're making sure that our students are doing okay, that their families are doing okay, that we can refer them, when Mrs. Clark is calling our students, that they can refer them to myself, to where we can make sure that their students' emotional needs are being met. Socially, we are going to be having after-school clubs. We are right now diving into all of the restrictions for LA County to make sure that we are compliant with all of the rules, but we're going to be looking at things like speech club and art club, different sports skill building, just different areas where the kids can socially come together and just have fun, because that's what they're missing. They're missing that fun time with their friends. There will also be, again, during our distance learning, there'll be moments during classes that are purposely group activities so that they have that social interaction with their peers. Spiritually, you're going to be seeing clubs that are devotional clubs, to where Bible studies, to where students can dig into the Bible. We'll also be having virtual chapels. We'll also, after we get started with school, we'll also have in-person chapels. So we'll be able to really meet the students' spiritual needs. Lastly, physical. Every student will have a PE class once a day, so that they're able to develop their physical well-being. Being active not only helps you physically, but it helps you emotionally. It gets those happy endorphins going, and it will really help our students' overall health. So with these 5 areas, we're going to be able to meet your students where they're at and make sure that they're okay, because we are so concerned to making sure that our students and our parents, that everybody is handling all this uncertainty in the world. We want to give them as much consistency, structure, and love as we possibly can be. So that's why our communication is essential. Communicate with your teachers, communicate with myself. Let us know how we can help. We are here to help you. You are not in this alone. We are partnering with you in order to get through this. And one day we will all be back on campus, and we cannot wait for that day. But in the meantime, we have all of these different ways to connect with you. So I really feel like your student's going to be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And we have to remember that God is always in control. God knows the beginning, the end. God can use this. So seek God. I seek God every single day. Please, Lord, let me learn whatever you want me to learn for this time that we're in, because if we really seek the positive in this situation, then we can really get a lot out of this time. Hi, I'd like to take a moment to talk about academics. Academics is extremely important when you start hitting middle school, because you want to make sure that your student is ready for high school. We have a couple things in place to help your student. If your student has academic challenges, we have a program called Advantage. And Advantage helps students with diagnosed learning challenges be able to succeed. Things like oral testing, note-taking, preferential seating in classes, extra assistance with organization. That program will be something that we'll still be able to offer during distance learning, and that information will be going out in our August 17th email as well, that you can sign up your child for that program. While we are in distance learning, the entire program will be free of charge, so including the after-school portion. Once we come back on campus, the during school portion will be free of charge, but the extra study hall after school will have an additional charge, and that information will be in our August 17th email. So that's a program for kids that need some extra help. In addition, we will be offering tutoring. During distance learning, our after-school tutoring will be free of charge. It'll be something that we will have sign-ups for as the school year begins, so that we can put students in the proper tutoring classes. But it's also something that once we come back on school, there will be a 2-hour study hall every afternoon for a nominal fee, that you'll be able to have your student come to the study hall every single day. So again, that'll be more information that's coming out in our August 17th email. We have programs for students that succeed academically. And our biggest program is Access. Students love Access. They love being able to be rewarded their field trip once a quarter. They also get recognition from Kevin McCarthy's office. And so this year we'll still be able to do Kevin McCarthy's acknowledgement, but we'll have to do something different than our field trips, especially during the first semester when things are more uncertain due to COVID-19. But we will be rolling that out in September, the different incentives that we'll have for students that have that GPA. It's GPA of 3.5 or higher with no C's. In our classes this year, that would be 3 A's and 3 B's is the easiest way to communicate that to students. So again, academics, we have stuff for students that need extra assistance, and we also have those rewards for students that succeed. So we're really looking forward to helping our students progress along the way. I hope you enjoyed our orientation video, a little bit tour of our campus and a little bit more about the middle school. We cannot wait for our school year to start. The first day of school is going to be September 8th, and we are so excited to have you be part of our family.